Hello, Internet Nation. Alex and Ashley here. Welcome to a new segment that we're gonna call Fucking Around in the Kitchen with Alex. This is don't repeat anything I do in this video, or do, it's your shit. I'm not gonna tell you what to do with your shit. Clearly somebody should be telling me what to do with my shit. Maybe I should raise this. BRB. I don't think that's better, but it's better than it was before. So, welcome to the first part of customizing my darling Umi. She's right here. Poor thing has been slightly mutilated. I'm making a wig cap for her so we can get started on the hair. Also, so I don't have to worry about doing a wig cap over her face up. I sense danger, considering there was lots of danger in the process of getting her, on top of the fact that I almost literally put the wig cap on, the cotton over her head, and almost started gluing before I realized there was no plastic under there. So, today, in my kitchen, we shall be dyeing Umi's ears. She came with these giant bunny ears. And today, I'm gonna try and dye them. They're pretty big, so I have this sander. It's an industrial file, and I'm going to dye her. Now these ears are made of resin, and you're not like printed 3D printed resin, so you're not supposed to dye them in boiling water because it can separate the layers. Now I dyed some blooms that I got before that are 3D printed, and those came out fine. So we're gonna try that again, and if I fuck up, and that's on me. So, I'm going to test, to start off, I'm using Right Dye in chocolate brown. This color is way too dark for my darling Umi, who's like a caramel color, but that's okay. If her ears are a little bit darker, that's fine. My goal here today is kind of just to get them a nice brown so that maybe I can like use pastel colors to get them the rest of the way. Or if they come out a little too dark, that's okay too. It doesn't have to be like perfect. They're going to be painted on the inside, which I guess if I'm going to paint them on the inside, I could just poop them in like that, but I don't have a big enough strainer. I don't really feel comfortable with it like sitting on the thing like that. I don't think I have a big one either. Nope, just this little one. I don't really want any streaks up in this piece, so I'm going to test the dye out. It was at a nice rolling boil, and then it decided to boil all over my stove. So now it's down to a nice simmer. I'm going to bump that up to a rolling simmer. And I'm going to test it out on this chess piece I have. This is also 3D printed resin. Don't focus on my face, focus on the chess piece. This is a Dandelion bloom chess piece that came with a Snowdrop Seconds that magically made its way into my my box, into Umi's box. So I'm going to test it on that because I have a extra torso for my original Snowdrop, and I was originally going to use that, but then I realized that torso was much better quality than this one, which, you know, I guess you could assume because the original was from the original Snowdrop and this one's from a Seconds, which were sold because they're a little janky. So, you know, let's try it. Now I'm going to, I don't know if the water's hot enough, but I'm just going to like boot that in there. Wiggle it about. I don't really like to let it sit. I'm a really paranoid individual, and in this bucket here I have some warm water. It's actually a little too hot if you ask me. I like to have some nice cool water on standby so I can just like because if it gets too hot, the resin will separate. So I like to cool it down, which again, I probably should put some ice in here or something. Give me a second. Of course, I'm not good at homies. Okay, now it's a little more warm. And, oh. As you can see from like a few seconds, can you even see that? From like a few seconds in the dye, it's a nice light tan color. Honestly, if I can get her ears to this color, that would be great. Actually, this is really nice. It kind of reminds me of the milk tea color that the foxgloves came in. I'm gonna leave that. Now for the ears, that's the fun part. Cause I don't have a strainer big enough for them. And honestly, the pot is a little too small. So I'm solely reliant on the magnetic function of this, which theoretically, the hot water can loosen the magnet in the ear, causing the ear to fall into the pot. And if that happens, I'm going to have to instantly abort. My initial plan was to just dump it into the sink, which is why I washed the dishes. But now I'm realizing I could just dump it into this bucket right here. So that's what I'm gonna do. I am not afraid to dump it out. As you can see, this is a small pot, like this size, maybe a little bit smaller than this, maybe like a centimeter. And I used about, I don't know what the measurement of this is. This is a cup that came with my meal replacements. And you use one of these to get one of these. A scoop of this consists of, I know one scoop of this consists of 2 scoops that you're supposed to use for the other meal replacement. But irrelevant, I guess. I just used half of this for a full cup. And now I guess I'm just gonna put the ear on. I found a way to do it earlier when I was testing around that I really liked. I'm just gonna dump it like this. And I'm hoping that the magnet doesn't loosen. Actually, I'm not gonna shake that over the thing. I'm just gonna dump it really quickly. So then if I dump it, it's not gonna loosen the resin, but I also have to make sure not to touch the edge of the pot with the ear, because then I could melt the resin. I just need a nice chocolate base I can work off of. Oh, something else I forgot to mention. I put like a dab of dishwashing soap in the dye. I was also supposed to put a dab of dishwashing soap in the water. Oh, what is that? Why does that look like that? I'm having some discoloration on the inside of the ear. I don't know if you can see that. But I guess it doesn't matter because the inside I have to paint white anyway. And the outside, that looks so dirty. It's probably the mag. It's probably this thing. Do I have anything else I can use? Can I use this? No, it's not a magnetic metal. You see, the only thing about this is I don't want to go dumping things into dye that are not mine. And all that stuff is mine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that in there and I'm going to wash this. Be right back. I don't know if that's going to help, but I washed it. Any discolorations I get, I'm just going to cover with chalk pastels. I'm only really doing this to get closer to the color, so I have less work to do with pastels and stuff. Because as you could imagine, sitting there trying to dye or to cover a piece of white resin will take so much longer than trying to dye this tan resin. So here's where we are right now. Here's her color, and here's the ear. All these marks, I don't know where they came from. Maybe the thing was sitting on top of the thing. This is the thing I'm referring to. It has a little dye in it, so I don't know if it just like sat on top or something. So let's continue. That doesn't work. Oh, what if I do it this way? I can't fall asleep and I'm losing my mind, 'cause it's 3:30 and I've been counting sheep, but the sheep all die. So I guess I'll be alright. I may be wrong, I may be right. Stupid, but it's all I've got. Because I stuck it in there for that like 3 seconds upside down, the bottom part is a little bit darker now. Honestly, this is such a cute shade of brown. I can't seem to get that one spot in there inside the ear, but that's okay because it's gonna be like white anyway. Honestly, it's darker than this piece, but definitely different from this. Maybe I should have brought the studio light out here because this kitchen lighting is not it. But as you can clearly see, they're different colors now. The piece isn't too hot. I don't really, well, it's pretty hot, but like holding it, like if you press it against your face, you're like, damn, that's kind of hot. But when you're just holding it, it's like, oh, it's kind of warm. So it's slightly different from how she is. On camera, it kind of looks like the same color. I like how her little arms are out like this, but you can't see it because her sleeves are so long that they just go over her hands anyway. But I took her hands off so I can color those, so she doesn't have hands, she just has nubs. On to the next one. I'm going to make sure I clean it and then dry it. Did you see any of that? I just dumped it in this water, this tan water, and I'm cleaning it on the towel I have on the thing. No, you can't see. Well, there's a towel right next to the thing. The process is boiling water, cool water, towel. Wait, I do believe I realized I couldn't dump it like that the first time. I really wish I could get the top part up. Yeah, I think it definitely is this. I think my nail file has sediment. My file has released sediment into the water. I'm also going to need more water because the water has gotten very low and the top of the ear is sticking out, and I don't want the top of the ear to be white. Don't use hot water, silly. You gotta use cold water and let it boil. Boil. Bubble, bubble. Trouble and toil. So I'm just gonna wait for that to boil again. So like, what's up? How y'all doing? Has any of y'all like gotten a moon? I'd love to see your plans. I feel like people don't post enough pictures that like everybody's just like, hey, look, I got my moon. And now she's done. And I'm just like, I don't finish this shit so fast. Like, I keep looking at her and I'm just like, The fact that I'm impulsive is the reason I'm doing all of this. Like, she arrived earlier. The fact that I'm impulsive is why I'm doing all of this. Because it's like, I would be giving her a face up, but before, I did face ups on all of my blooms, and then had to do wigs for them, and I'm like, I don't really feel comfortable putting plastic over your face up. To which this time, I'm like, before I just jump into the face up, or at least starting the face up, I'm gonna make a wig cap. And then I decided I'm gonna dye the ears right now. Honestly, this shade of brown is really cute. I'll get more of a boil. But this shade of brown is really cute. I highly recommend it if you have white dolls that you want to dye brown. Because so far, I feel like if I keep going, I would get a really nice, deep chocolate. But I'm not using it for, like, full color. Not yet. I want to dye some dolls brown in the future. But that's more so, like, the December blooms that come in white, you know? So when that happens, I'll use that. Until then, I'm gonna take this and put it in my bucket. I have a giant bucket that I originally bought for dyeing until I realized I didn't need this to dye these. And because I'm not a fucking asshole, I went out and bought a little pot, as you should. If you're gonna dye, I recommend you invest in a small pot, or at least a medium-sized pot, maybe like a nice-sized pot. It really depends on what you're dyeing. Would not recommend something like this if you're gonna be working on something like this. But if you're gonna be working on like something smaller, yeah, totally, because her pieces aren't really gonna fit in here. And I put everything in here and then just dip it in the water. And then give it a nice jiggle about so that it's not staying consistent. Because I feel like when things stay still in the water, that's when you get trouble. Alright, so I'm going to dip this. Look at that. There's just... I'm not even holding it to the camera. Silly me. Look at that. You see that white spot? I don't know what's up with that. Maybe there's like an air pocket being caused in the ears, so how about I dip it like that? Hold it to the side, maybe. Don't do that. But you know what? I already spilled dye water on the stove. I already have to clean it. Now I'm getting these marks. I don't know what those are. But this one came off when I rubbed at it really hard. Giggity. Really not sure what it is. Maybe there's just like settlement chilling in the thing. Let's give it a stir. Oh yeah, definitely look at that. There's something in the water. Now, I guess in situations like this, I mean, it rubs right off. In situations like this, I would recommend dumping the water out and starting over. But I'm not a responsible adult. I'm a giant child, so I'm going to keep going and then just rub the thing off. Plus, it doesn't really matter if it's just going to get covered anyway. I just gotta try to get it under that surface of sentiment. I swear, every time I say the word wrong. Hold on, little buddy. Fee, if you're watching this video, I'm so sorry. Apologize to Alex for me. You guys, don't look at what I do to your beautiful creations. You didn't see that. It's not gonna fall off in a thing. Actually, the hot water is definitely loosening the magnets on this. Might have also loosened the magnets on the other one. I'm going to turn that down. Pourquoi? It doesn't seem to want to stick anymore. Something may be up. I don't know if it's because the magnets are loose or something. This is concerning. What can I use? Can I jump that? No, it's not going to give me full coverage. I think it's really cute how what color the torso came out. I'm kind of excited because that's the color I wanted for my December blooms. Maybe I pushed it in too far. I possibly could have pushed it in too far, so now it doesn't want to like hold on to the thing because the magnet's too far away. Do you guys think this is gonna work? As I said, I was not afraid to just dump that bitch in there. This water's warm. I'm gonna let that sit while I get more water. Times like this, I wish I had a bigger pot. It's not like hot. It's like the temperature you would want for a warm bath. This is gonna be so much easier in a few months when I get to just like do this with the blooms. Just more than half. See, about half. And I'm gonna let that boil and grab some new water. BRB. Hi, I'm back. Just me. This new water that's now full of soap. I made soap noises so it could acknowledge me acknowledging it. And this new pot of not yet boiling dye. I got this bent thingy to put the ear on. And I dipped it in the water. Now that you guys are watching me, it might fall off because that's just how the universe works. But I'm just gonna like dangle it, I guess. And I guess this time if it falls in, I'm just gonna try and grab it with this. Give myself like 3 seconds to grab it. Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna work. I just need to go a little bit darker because they're only like a pinch lighter than the other ones. It would be great if I could get that magnet out and then push it back in just a pinch. Just a pinchy pinch. Maybe I could do something like this. The horror. You didn't even try. There we go. Now it's not touching the pot. You guys, there are much easier ways to do this. It's such a nice brown. Ooh. Ah. Ew. The one with the streak is the first one. Now I think it's darker than the other one. Yeah, it's definitely darker. It's a little richer. So I'm going to put this one in for like a hot second. And hopefully you can find a nice color balance. Honestly, one's darker than the other. Can you tell? This one is darker. They're actually, I mean, they're definitely different shades. I guess it doesn't matter. Because, yeah. They're kind of a perfect color for her, though. So I'm just gonna. And I think I'm gonna save this dye. So, yeah, I'm gonna go find a jar to dump this the dye into. And these are my final results. Let's go into my room. Why, hello! Welcome to my midsection. So under the studio light, you can really see the imperfections. But again, those should disappear shortly. As you can see, this one is darker. But they're both a nice brown color with a white all up in here, which I guess isn't bad because that part's going to get like colored white anyway to match her hair. And then no booty on the stream. They gotta pay for that. So like, here's her color. I probably should, at the very least, and lift the light so it's not directly behind the thing. That should be better. So here's Umeri's colors. That's not her full name, by the way. She's named after Rumi. You know, a certain bunny. So like, here are the colors. This one is actually a really nice match. And this one is kind of like reddish. I don't know how it became reddish. But, Umi! Was that the one I dyed first? Yeah, no, this is the one I dyed second. I guess because of like the way the dye was, it just made it more reddish. I'd want it to be more like this one, but I don't want to keep putting it in the dye because then it's just gonna get dark, and I don't really want it to be dark. I want it to be her color, and she's not really dark. So I'm gonna leave them here. Thanks for joining us on the first, I mean technically it's not the first step, but I guess the first step of customizing her ears. Maybe I'll make more videos along the way, but I feel like it'd be really tedious to do the whole blushing process. Maybe I'll record it and then just put music over that or something, or rant over it. I don't know, but I'm gonna carry on to the next step. I think her wig cap is dry enough for me to start cutting away at it, and then I can seal her face and then start blushing her hands, I guess. So that's what I'm gonna do. Until next time, Internet Nation. Or that you are loved by this guy and this gal. Bye. That was her nodding in agreement, not shaking her head, by the way. Bye.